What's up, Sunday fams? Welcome back to another video. My name is Flip.
I'm Element.
And we get together each and every week on Mondays and Tuesdays to catch up to some of our favorite Asian dramas, Thursdays and Saturdays for K-pop and Dreamcatcher
No
content.
Sundays.
No Sundays, even though we're called Watching Sundays.
If you're new to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you know when we post new videos, and like this video to help us out. Without further ado, it's Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha 7 and 8. Let's go. La 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 la. Watching Sunday. Things are starting to heat up between Chief Hong and Sung Young now. Like, he's in the town, he's trying to film this new variety show, and he is trying to rent out Ganri's house. Along the way, they start to kind of have this rivalry with each other, which sees them going back and forth trying to impress Hye-jin and like exchanging looks or jabs with each other, trying to look the best they could in front of Hye-jin.
I don't think Sung Yun's doing it on purpose. Like, I think that's just his character. He's like the long-lost BFF of Chief Hong, but Chief Hong has these feelings that he's kind of secretly holding on to, and so it affects him more than it does Sung Hyun. Sung Hyun's just being himself, you know, he's helpful, he's got lots of energy, and he's just being himself around the town, right? Like helping out wherever he can. He wants to be good with the townspeople because he's filming a variety show there. But Chief Hong is, I think, a little bit jealous here and there because he's being more helpful. He's a little too late to show up to help others in the town. Like, that's his job, and so it puts him in a weird place. And it's also kind of awkward for him too because Hye-jin is paying a lot of attention. They're reminiscing back into their pasts and like how much fun it was, and you know, it could be awkward if the person that you are very much interested in is not paying attention to you anymore.
And this makes their exchanges even more funny because Chief Hong will often refuse Sun Young to do things, but if Hye-jin is going to accompany Sun Young, then Chief Hong is like,
안 먹는다며? 물냉면 안 먹는다고? 비빔 먹을 거야, 비빔. 냉면은 비빔이지.
a lot of their interactions is based around whether or not Hye-jin is going to be alone with Sun Young, and I think it's just really, really funny.
Do these tactics to distract the other from the other or change subjects right away, just so that the attention and the conversation isn't there anymore.
하나 더 드세요.
내가 먹을 거야. 내가 찜했던 만두라고 이거.
진짜.
So he's definitely a little bit jealous there.
Now, in terms of the second lead syndrome, obviously, for me, I don't think it's going to be a huge issue. The only thing that Sun Young has with Hye-jin is nostalgia. You know, a lot of the things that they share is, you know, good memories and very friendly exchanges with each other. But everything that we've seen thus far in terms of romantically is directed towards Chief Hong. Like the scene where Chief Hong is drunk out of his mind and Hye-jin tries to console him or even bring him home safely, and he ends up crying on her shoulder saying, Hajima, don't go, don't leave me behind, and she won't. And so there's small little tidbits that we're not seeing, but they're revealing slowly but surely throughout each episode that leads me to believe that they ultimately will end up together. And like, there's nothing really concrete with Sun Young. He's definitely friend zone material. He will present a roadblock or an obstacle for their romance, but ultimately I don't see like endgame material for them.
I absolutely agree, because like things have been happening between the two of them. She has these feelings for him, he has these feelings for her. None of them is willing to like take the first step to actually admit it or confess. And it's just kind of like these really childish tactics that they're employing. Chief Hong kind of like being awkward and kind of avoiding eye contact here and there. When Hye-jin and Sung Hyung are together and having this banter, and he kind of just like awkwardly leaves, and like, you know, he's obviously in love with her. But going back to what you said about don't leave me, I think that has a lot of connection with his nightmare and why he's seeing a doctor in Seoul. And, you know, perhaps there is something really, really tragic that happened with his family. And so we don't know what that is yet, but I'm sure it's something that's going to surface along the way.
And you're absolutely right. It is very childish. Both of them are experiencing all types of feelings for each other. They're both trying to discourage themselves from pursuing it. Every time Hye-jin has like these romantic feelings or these notions of acting on those feelings, she's like, oh, get yourself together. Chief Hong, he's like, same thing. He's having feelings for her, has like these like emotions in his heart, and then he's like, what's wrong with you? Get a grip on yourself.
뭐야 왜 이래? 정신 차려 옹두식.
They're both treating their feelings, their genuine feelings for each other, as if it's something wrong with them, when they should just be accepting it and being like,
But
let's love each other.
Well, then maybe because like all of these things that happened, the situation with them getting close, the kiss, they were both drunk at that time, so maybe that's kind of like a small excuse for not moving forward with it.
I guess so.
You know, but like who cares?
Yeah.
just go for it, right? It's very obvious too when they went to the restaurant and had lunch. You know, Hee-jin automatically sat next to Chief Hong, and that's kind of when you know that, like, you know, I think he's not that much of a threat, Sung-hyun. Like,
Yes.
he's not that much of a threat. He saw something there in terms of how close they were. They were just very natural. Like,
She said we.
yes, she said we.
우리라고 했다.
I'd love to see what happens in the next couple of episodes.
Hee-jin just sees Sun Young's face and sees familiarity and sees comfort. And, you know, she has that wall up. It's like, I don't just befriend anybody.
Right.
And then he's not just anybody. He's an old friend from college. And so that's the extent of the obstacle that he presents in this kind of love triangle.
Yeah, also, we'd love to know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think that this is a threat or an added recipe into this love that's bound to happen between Chief Hong and Hee-jin? On that note, moving on, there is a panty thief, or what are we calling it? The panty bandit?
Panty bandit? Yeah. We are here complaining that they don't confirm their feelings for each other, but at the very end of 8, you know, in the midst of a panty bandit, in the midst of a molester who's going around trying to abduct girls, Hee-jin stays after hours from work and walks home alone. I don't know why you would do that in the midst of that crisis. Seems to be followed by someone, and she's saved by Chief Hong. And the only thing that she can think of is to run to him and hug him. And I think that's the start, at least, of her kind of coming to terms with how she really feels, or at the very least, feeling grateful that he's there.
I would think so. Like, I mean, that's kind of like instincts, right? Like your natural instincts when something happens, you naturally just do things like without thinking about it. And so like, she just went for it, ran to him, they embraced. And, you know, like, maybe the frustrating part about the show is that there's all these little small things that happen between them. And then, in the next couple of minutes, it's like they're strangers. And it's almost like they're stuck in this friend zone, but like no one exactly knows how to get out of it, right?
This is like the opposite, right? They're both friend zoning each other, but they want to be more.
Like, how do you friend zone each other?
And I feel like you're onto something. Episode 9 is gonna start with them embracing, and then, you know, he's having feelings, she's having feelings, and then she's gonna push him away. If that does not happen, we'll be happier for it, because it's high time that they do, in fact, just confess to each other.
Well, I don't know. There's probably like 10 more episodes left, so...
That's our takeaway from these last 2 episodes. They need to confess to each other and stop beating around the bush and stop treating their feelings for each other as if it's an illness that they need to get a grip on, beat themselves over the head for.
Now, one mystery here. The third mystery in Gongjin is the lottery winner. I actually think it's Chief Hong. I think the lottery winner during that time is Chief Hong, and you know that's why he does what he does. He's an everyday handyman.
You
because
just have to pay
he's
me
freaking
minimum
rich.
wage.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah,
I think that makes sense.
He's the town fixer, but everything he fixes is at minimum wage, and the overtime fee is practically, you know, normal 1.5. So yeah, I think
he has no need for money, so he's got it all in the bank or something. We know that there was a lot of other things that happened. The other love triangle, which whatever, and then
that guy's a douche.
And then also the fishing scheme that happened.
Douche.
I know. But in any case, really, we're here for Hee-jin and Chief Hong. How do they get over this friend zone that they're doing to each other?
Yes.
They're just friend zoning each other.
Well, that'll do it for our recap and reaction to episode 7 and 8 of Hometown Cha 3 Times. If you enjoyed our video, please leave a like and subscribe, especially if you're new to the channel, and hit the bell notification so you know when we post new videos. But as always, we will see you next time.
난 그래도 그대네요. 밤하늘의 별도 밝게 비춘 달도 그대 앞에 빛을 잃어요. 감당할 수 없는 마음들